The celebration of Easter in Guyana is filled with a blend of traditions. For many, it is a time of deep reflection and renewal of faith. For others, it's about getting together with friends and family. Many look forward to the famous hot cross buns, and Guyanese from every walk of life, especially the young ones, get excited about kites. Bird kites, box kites, caddiole punch, or a star point singing engine. In the religious context, Easter is one of the most important observances on the Christian calendar. It is centered around the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Georgetown Cathedral, as it is commonly known, or more formally, the Immaculate Conception Cathedral. It is the largest and only cathedral in Guyana. Of course, it is a Catholic cathedral, and some believe that this is the largest cathedral in the English-speaking Caribbean.
The whole sequence of events is what we would enact and narrate from Palm Sunday going into Easter Sunday, that week. Those last moments that Christ spent with his disciples. Palm Sunday, that triumphal entry into Jerusalem, coming into his city, and then on what we refer to now as Holy Thursday, that it was Christ celebrating with his disciples a Jewish festival, because they were Jews and they just did the things of Jewish heritage and custom, and the gathering there to celebrate the Passover, and that goes back to that time in the Old Testament of Moses rescuing the people from Egypt and passing over from slavery to freedom, from Egypt into the Promised Land, from a state of having no God to re-establishing their relationship with their God, where he breaks bread and shares wine, representing body and blood, and says, "Do this." But he was saying to his disciples, "You have been with me. You have seen everything that I have done and taken in, hopefully, everything I've taught you. I want you to go and do the same."
Easter is precipitated by Good Friday, and many religious Christians observe this period in churches, repenting and asking for the mercy of Jehovah. The Easter period in Guyana has evolved into much more than a religious observance. It is now enshrined in the culture of Guyana, where persons of all religious backgrounds participate in some of the traditions of Easter. It has become a time of celebration, reflection, and an opportunity to create new and strengthening bonds with family and friends. Many participate in family picnics. Others take their children to open parks and the seawall for them to frolic and fly kites. But this fun is not limited to children, as adults alike tap into their internal kid to have a merry time.
Jesus died on the cross. Jesus died on the cross. Jesus died on the cross for me. One day when I was lost, Jesus died on the cross, and I know it was the blood for me.
So I grew up in the country area with a big family dynamic. And back where I'm from, there were mostly Hindu people living there. The population was mostly Hindus, but we celebrated everything. Whether it was Christmas, whether it was Easter, Pagwa, Diwali, we celebrated everything. And that was what was so special about my childhood. And I hope to one day that my kids also, you know, do that. They must respect every religion, they must enjoy every religion, and they must also know what it was like for the other religion, the importance for that for them, although they're not Hindus.
As a kid growing up, I remember the beginning of Easter is when you finish writing your Easter exam. And I was living close to the Canefield area. So small growing up, a group of us from the area and school friends, we used to go to the Canefield and sort the farmland for gummy cherries. When we came back, we used to paste the kites. And then we went back to the Canefield area and fly because there were no wires. Also, part of preparing whilst we were going there, we used to walk with our exercise book. We would tear the pages out from the books that were not used, and we would make cardio punch and fly those. We used to even get issues with our parents taking their threads from the house and use it to fly the cardio punch. And growing up now and as an adult, I try to envision that into my son, but the culture has changed because the atmosphere and stuff is more modernized now. And mostly we tried pasting kites and stuff, but he's not that patient. Sometimes you find him being distracted and want to do other things.
The idea of remembering Christ, because of Baha'i, you couldn't deny Christ and you couldn't deny Krishna, even if your life was what you had to exchange. Because Baha'is believe that they are both from God, sent to guide the human race towards that which is good. So when thinking of Easter and the celebrations, that it's something that causes people to remember Jesus. And Baha'u'llah also said, when someone turns their face with radiance towards Christ, that's one of the most beautiful things. So when people remember Jesus, Christ, and their heart is turned towards him, it causes progress. It causes reflecting on things that are divine, his teachings, his guidance. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is a golden rule that exists from Krishna. It exists from Daniel the prophet, from Moses, from Jesus, from Muhammad, from the Bab, and in this day from Baha'u'llah as well.
With its Gothic architecture and stained glass window, erected in 1889, cathedral comes from the word cathedra, which means the chair or a chair with the seat of God, or where God sits in the nation, in the city that is Georgetown. Before a cathedral is erected, or before a city is demarcated a city, a cathedral has to be erected, which forms part of the parish and the diocese of Georgetown. St. George's Cathedral holds that auspicious designation as the Cathedral of Georgetown, and by extension, the Cathedral of the nation.
It's an opportunity for Christians and others to speak to each other. We have to do much more of that. These days, I often see young people, it happened only the other day, sitting down on the same bench right down the street here, and all on their cell phones, not talking to one another. Human beings were made to communicate and learn. And we cannot learn by ourselves. That's a mistake if we believe that. But we learn through reaching out. And Easter gives us that opportunity. We want to extend Easter greetings to everyone. We want everyone to experience this event in their own way and find new meaning. Easter is something that happened a long time ago, but it's an ongoing process. And we live and we learn, as the old people so often say. Well, let us live with Christ these few days, and let us learn. And let us learn to be brothers and sisters, no matter what divisions we might have on the surface.
Kite making and Easter are inseparable for Guyanese. The creativity is endless, and it is filled with childhood memories. For others, it is also a symbol of the resurrection of Christ. While another school of thought believes that kites were introduced to Guyana by Chinese indentured. Despite the origin or the symbolism, kites have become part of our Guyanese tradition. Hot cross buns are a unique delicacy to find only around this season. Guyana's multi-ethnic population has grown in unity, and religious observations have morphed into national celebrations. Guyana is truly remarkable.